Okay, let's break down what a regular for loop actually is, because I've seen a lot of confusion. First of all, a regular for loop isn't just designed to loop over arrays and strings and other iterable things. Actually, all it's meant to do is that it's going to repeat a block of code as many times as you want it to, okay, depending on a condition. All right. Okay, let's talk about the three parts. The first part right here, which is let I equal 0, the initializer, just has to be a number. Okay. The only reason we have to declare a variable is because we're going to increase it later. Okay. Now, the condition part is like an if statement. So your for loop will run as long as the second part evaluates to true. Okay. And we use this for arrays and strings because arrays and strings have a length, and we can run this as many times as I is less than the length. And also because strings and arrays have indexes, we can use @I to access their indexes. So they work with arrays and strings, but not only those things. Okay. Now, let's see. We actually don't need any of these three, but most of the time you actually do. Okay. Okay. We can do something like I equals I plus 2. See? Let's see what else we can do. What about this part? It just evaluates to truthy or falsy, right? What if we write a random number generator? Random gen, let's have it return math.floor and then math.random. Let's just have it times 10. Okay. And then what if here I just put in random gen and then I call it. Okay. We get all of it, then we get 14 undefined. If I press refresh, we only get up to 5. I press refresh again, it is up to 2. So what's going on here? So every time this for loop runs once, this part will call this function. Okay. Now, let's do it again. Okay. So every time, this will be a different number. That's why sometimes we get a bunch of undefined. Now, how come right here we get 18 undefined, but it's only supposed to generate numbers 10 or less? Okay. That's because every iteration, this part gets called again, okay, so that it adds to the truthy condition of how long this will run. Okay, so that's why sometimes we get a crazy number like 18, but it still works, okay, because this just has to be a Boolean condition. In this case, a Boolean condition means, hey, any number that's greater than 0 will evaluate to true, so it will keep on running, right? Okay, let's do something else. What if I have this array and I want to reverse it? Yeah, let me just paste in so it doesn't freeze, and then let's console.log reversed. Let's see what we get on the right. So we get it reversed, but what is going on here? Well, remember I said the first part just needs to be a number. ARR.length is a number. The second part just has to evaluate to either true or false. And this will run as long as array.length is truthy, which is the same as writing as long as array.length greater than 0. Okay. Now, what's stopping this from being an infinite loop? Because of .pop. So every loop, we reduce the length of ARR by popping one value off and then pushing it into the reversed array using the spread operator as well. Okay? And this is going to stop running once we pop off enough value to where the length of this array is now 0. Okay? So a for loop works this way too. Look, you don't even need the increment decrement part. Okay, I hope that was helpful. That's how a regular for loop actually works. And also, if an object, const obj, is structured a certain way, you can even loop through it. Let's say if all its keys are numbers, let's not say key, let's say first, and one will be second, and then this will be blah, and then third. Okay, and then I would just console.log. Let's see. So let's change this for loop. Let's change it back to its regular. Let I equal to 0. Okay. I is less than what? Well, this has 3, so we're going to run as long as it's less than or equal to 3. Okay? And then I plus plus. And then we're just going to console.log what? obj at I. And then let's see. Okay, so look, the for loop works on an object. Why? Well, it's not why. It's just that we're able to do object at numeric 0, okay? Because this object, its first two keys are 0 and 1, and our I is 0, and then gets increased to 1. So it works. It's able to get these values. Remember, arrays are just objects underneath the hood. Okay? Now, how can we get 2 undefined right here? Well, that's because, first of all, console.log, when it gets to this, it cannot do that, okay? Because at I no longer exists here. It has to say at blah, okay?